welcome to a Traveling Knitter, the podcast. I'm your host, Steph, and I'm podcasting to you from Dayton, Ohio, where it is 8:21 in the evening. I'm trying to do this a little bit faster than normal, so I only have one of my lights up. Hopefully that's okay. I know it's going to be a little bit shadowy on this side, but it was worse if I did not put up at least one of the lights. Is this a thing where you live? But in Ohio, I feel like I said that wrong, weird. In Ohio, a lot of the apartments and homes don't have overhead lighting. I'm fortunate in that my bedroom does have overhead lighting. This is my spare bedroom. It's my craft room. And it does have the connection for it, so that's unique. But it's an apartment. I don't plan to live here forever. I did not buy any overhead lighting for it, but it just makes it a little bit dimmer inside of these apartments. So let's jump straight into completed quests because, yes, we have one. Now, some of you may not agree that it's completed, but I will say it's complete because I'm done knitting. I will still weave the ends in. I will absolutely weave the ends in, but I am proud to say my On the Spice Market by Melanie Berg is complete. And I did say in my last podcast that this would be done. I love it so much. So this is where I started. So this is color 1, and then to color 6, contrasting color. And then you have all of this. So it kind of starts back with that color again. And then returns. So I had talked about increasing this, but I didn't actually look at the pattern. And what it has done is you knit 2 less rows. 2 or 4? 4. 4. You, so it decreases evenly. So I didn't do it. I would have if I had enough yarn in this color to do one extra row, then I would have, increased each one by 1 row, but I did not. So this is how we are. And I'm going to end up blocking it, of course, to make it bigger, because right now it's big, but I would like it even bigger than what it is. I have all the ends to weave in, which honestly, I'm fine with it. Oh, I will say something interesting happened, unique for me. So I have my little progress keeper here. So I knit almost all of this since the last time. And I say almost because he is not just keeping my progress. I dropped a stitch. I almost never drop a stitch. I drop stitches, but I always catch them pretty much immediately. I didn't catch this until I was in this color. That's right, I was all the way up here. The stitch didn't move, so it was easy. I just grabbed him with the progress keeper. So I do need to fix that. Honestly, I'll probably just use one of the ends, like the color, and just kind of weave that through. So yeah, it happens. It happens clearly because it happened here. But I'm just so pleased with this. And for the last, well, maybe not the last time, because maybe I'll show it to you again with the ends all woven in. But I'll go through the colors and what I have left. I have not weighed any of this, so pardon that. But the main gray color was Lolo Did It in her Angry Rhino, and I have a decent amount of that left. And then we'll go in order of the color. So I've got my pattern, and okay. So we'll go in order, and so they have contrasting color 1, 2, 3 through 6. So contrasting color 1, this is how much I have left, and it is Dunk. I did not have enough to go back to do 2 more rows. So Dunk, I would say maybe 5. Then we have Coral Code. What? Coral Cod, not code, Coral Cod. Beautiful color. 10. Honestly, I really shouldn't be guessing at weights because I'm not good at that. And then we have Keppel. Heron. Badera. Badera is very similar to Heron. These are probably the closest, but Heron is a little bit more seafoamy, and Badera is, on camera it's looking kind of bluish, but it's a little bit more green. I'd say this is more green, this is more blue. And then the last color is Lizard, which I do have quite a lot left. So with all of that, I was kind of thinking of doing like a scrappy sock, which I think would be pretty cute. And I have the gray still, so I was thinking maybe what I could do is, so there's that stitch pattern, or it's like you would, so I would knit with this, maybe the toes, and then when I would change color, I would knit 2 rounds maybe with the gray, and then I would do like mosaic knitting, so it would be like a slip stitch so that it would look like the stitch was further down or pulled down, and just go through all the colors. I think that would be really cute. And you know, of course there'd be less of this and more of this color, but I'm still playing around with that idea. I mean, I'm pretty much, yes, that's what I want to do, but I don't know if I'm going to cast on, you know, soon within the year. It would be nice because then all of the, you know, all of these little baby skeins would be used up, but I don't know yet. So, and that was housed in my fringe field bag, which will now be either used for socks or converted for another project. So that is my completed quest. I'm so excited that that's done because that means I get to cast on another shawl, and it is cold. I'm wearing a sweater. It was 36 degrees this morning. Yeah, that's pretty crazy how we were sitting at the 90s and now like it was cold enough that we were under a frost advisory. So, ooh, no. But it did mean it was a bit cooler, so I wore a cowl, which I guess I should have worn for the podcast, but I'm not going to go get it because I already put it away. But yeah, I wore a cowl, I wore sweater and a coat, but that's okay. So for our current quests, I have them in the market bag tote. Oh, I love this. I can't wait to get a bigger one. So I have 2 projects in here, and I'm just kind of, this is just going to be my donation hat basket. So I did not finish my hats, so I'm now behind on my quota. But I've moved on to the Graham pattern, and this is what I've knit so far. So I ran out of the blue, which is fantastic. So then I started on with the black, and I am decreasing for the crown. So it's a free pattern on Ravelry, and I had the printed, oh, it's down here. So I will give you the name. It is Graham by Jennifer Adams, and there's 2 sizes, an adult medium and a large. So the dimensions are either 16 or a 17.5 circumference. And she uses US size 5 and 7 or a 6 and 8 for the larger size. I am indeed doing the 5 and the 7, I believe. Double check. Yes. So I am enjoying maybe a stretch because this black is Red Heart and it is, well, both of them are Red Heart. They're not very fun. And I find that I end up needing to wash my hands because they just feel dirty. Like they feel dusty. But it's in my stash, and you know, I'm excited I used up a color. So I incorporated another color into the scraps that I'm knitting from. So, you know, right now I have the blue and the black and then the tealy blue. And because I finished the light blue, I cast on for another gram. And this one, I like this one much more. This is using Jiffy. Jiffy Lion Brand? Do they still make Jiffy? I have a couple skeins of this. I can't remember if I made a blanket or I didn't make a blanket. I really can't remember. But this is yarn that I got in college in the yarn club, the knitting group that I was in college. We had a bunch of yarn to make blankets, and one of our members always had to store all the yarn, and so I just took some and I'm making hats now because I don't need all this yarn. So this is a beautiful color, and it's coming off a little bit more purple on camera, like that fluorescent purple. I mean, it's bright, but it's more of a pink. Like you're definitely getting more purple on camera. If I do that, this color right up there, that pink, that's closer to what it is. But I have more skeins of this, so I will most likely be making a variety of hats with this. So those are the two hats that I'm working on. Like I said, I'm doing the decreasing. I think I might finish this tonight because I have a soccer game that I would like to watch tonight, and potentially another. They're staggered, so one of them starts at 9, the other one starts at 10, and my favorite team is the Portland Thorns, and they are playing at 10. So yeah, my second favorite team is the Utah Royals, and they play at 9. So I will not be able to watch all of the Utah Royals game, but my favorite player on the Utah Royals is Kelly O'Hara, and she has not been playing recently. And of course, Tobin Heath is my favorite player, all players. And she did not play the last game either. So we'll see. But I just love watching women's soccer. I love watching it more than I love the men's. And honestly, like, I've just not really been into the men's lately. I love the women's. I feel so happy watching them play. It's kind of a weird thing to say, but I am. This is how much I have left of the teal, still a lot, so this will also turn into a gram hat, and there will probably still be leftover yarn. Black, we don't have quite as much of the black, but still a considerable amount, so this much, and I would say I will be able to knit maybe an entire gram, maybe. What I might end up doing is maybe I will, well, it's hard to discern the brim from the rest. I mean, you can see it. I feel like you can see it on camera more. There's right here is the brim, and then we go into the pattern. So maybe I'll do the brim in like the leftover black and then switch to the teal for the last one, because I think I'll be able to do an entire black and then there'll probably be some leftover. But yeah, so those are the hats, and I might end up casting on less, maybe, so that I can do some smaller hats. And I quite like the gram. So I bought this, like, I think it's Blue Sky alpaca, and I wanted to knit a pattern that was like this, and so I did, but I ended up knitting them on way too big of needles. So I wore it once, but it just would not stay on my head. So I would like to re-knit that, and I'll probably knit it in this pattern. So those are my 2 works in progress. Now, on the horizon, so this I don't always have in my podcast, but on the horizon is where I talk about what I plan to cast on next, or things that I want to cast on. And I would like to take a moment to talk about Kristen Lehrer, or Lehrer. I'm not really sure how she pronounces her last name. It is German. I'm sure she's mentioned it. It is German. It means teacher. And I don't know, when I say it in my head in German. But Kristen of Wollenwein, which I'm sure everyone knows. She dyes beautiful yarn. She has a very long-lasting podcast that is always great to watch because she does so many different crafts. And I feel like even though I think she doesn't feel like she puts out a lot of different crafts and that she is able to do it quickly, I feel like she is very efficient in the things that she makes. I mean, she designed a shawl and did the whole thing, and it takes all 3.5 skeins, and she did it in a month or something. So she's very, very efficient, and I really enjoy watching her podcasts and all of the things that she creates. So she came out with a new shawl design called Stoker. I'm guessing it's a reference to Bram Stoker, the author of Dracula. And it is such, I love the little detail of the tassel on top of the design rather than at the bottom. So at the tip of the triangle, so here's the triangle, rather than having the tassel here, she has the tassel here. I saw a picture of that and I was like, sold. I love that. That is brilliant. That is different. It's unique, and it looks so good. And I love the color that she dyed for that shawl. I tried to catch her update, but I missed it. So it's just I forget sometimes. I've been following her for so long. I feel like she used to do updates at 7 o'clock. And I would always be in on an airplane at that time. Then she switched it around, and I don't know, but I missed it. I love the pattern, and I love the yarn. So hopefully maybe next week she does another update with just the dye to order for that pattern. I don't know. Vogue Knitting Live is coming up. Vogue Knitting Live in Columbus is coming up, so I know I'm gonna buy yarn there, but I really like that pattern. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll put a picture somewhere up on the screen, but definitely check it out. So that takes us to Smaug's Trove, which I do actually have something. I did not buy it. I inherited it. And it is these 2 pattern books. This one right here is a vintage pattern book. It's, where's the date? I thought I saw the date for this and it was really old. Maybe it was a different one that had the date, but that kind of makes me sad that there is no date on this. Maybe I'll see if I can look it up and find the date, but this is Lacey's children's book, 2 to 4 and 6 years. I don't know why they didn't just say 2 to 6, but at the time this was 35 cents. And it's kind of funny, it says, if your dealer cannot supply you, send 35 cents in coin for each book to T.M. Lacey, Box 414, Hackensack, New Jersey. That's so cool. So I didn't just get this for the nostalgic. The patterns are actually really cute. Look at these sweaters. So there's little elephants, and I love how the deer, it's not just 2 deer just standing there. This one's about to jump away. So that's really cool. Those are called Classic Pullover number 2100. And then we have Raglan Sleeve Cardigan 2101. And these children, look at their little socks. This just reminds me of Leave It to Beaver, the Brady Bunch. I love those shows. And then there's a couple other like just sweater cardigans. I really like this one right here. The vest is cute too for like a kid. This one, cable front cardigan. Really nice. The Peter Pan collars are interesting. I had a shirt, oh, there we go, that had Peter Pan collars on it, and I loved it. I freaking loved it. It was one of my favorite shirts. It was white, and I wore it for years. It was like a shirt I bought for work. White tends to, you know, you get your pit stains, so you gotta get rid of it. It was a sad day when I was like, you know, it's no longer, you can no longer hide these. So there's this sweater here. I mean, that's pretty high up on his neck, but that's really cute. And then you've got 2 berets and then like a classic cap. So I'm pretty excited, and I actually want to make some of this stuff. There's no charts and it's all written out, so I might have to rewrite them because this will just be a pain in the butt. Maybe I'll scan it because it is pretty old. But yeah, this is pretty exciting. And then same with this one. I think this is just from the 90s. 90s. Oh, no, it's not. It's from 2011. Okay, so 2011. 20 years off there. But these are all blankets that are used knitting the by the pound skeins of yarn, which I thought was pretty brilliant. And there's quite a lot. So there's like a circle one. Again, really cool. Problem is no charts. It is all written out. So that is a pain in the butt. And then that one's okay. Yeah, I like this one. It's got a bit of lace on it. And then this one is really interesting. It kind of looks like crochet, but it is not. And yeah, this one I think might be my favorite. It's got kind of like mock cables with an eyelet, feather and fan. And then this one's probably the most intricate one, and I think it uses up the most yarn. But it's this one. This is on the cover. This one's pretty cool too. I feel like the baubles again have that crochet style to it. And then this one, I actually just really like the color of this one. So that one's really pretty. And yeah, I mean, there's a couple more, but so I got these 2 books. One of the ladies in my knitting group, she had a pile of like vintagey old pattern books, so she was like, you know, take whatever you want, and I grabbed these 2. And that is it for the knitting content. I told you we're gonna do a fast one today because whistle blows in 15 minutes. So the next section of the podcast, I don't even have to shift because I've only read 1 book. The next section is a novel idea where I talk about the books that I've been reading between the last podcast and today. And I've only finished 1 book, and it is this, The Beholder by Anna Bright. So this is a YA fantasy novel, relatively big, but very, very quick to read. And I'm just gonna put it out there. I gave it 3 stars. So the premise is we have our main character. Her name is Selah, and she is the like next in line to the throne, basically. I mean, it's not royalty, but she's next in line. And her father and her stepmother, her stepmother essentially sends her away after she proposes to someone and they turn her down. So they're basically, you know, you need to get married. So her stepmother creates this abroad campaign and picks a bunch of places for her to visit and meet men, and hopefully she will get married. Now that all sounds very much like a fantasy element, but the stepmother is essentially trying to get her out of the way so that she can take over the country, basically. So Selah is on the ship called the Beholder, and they go to basically England. And then the second place I think they go to is Norway. And why I say I think is because it's sort of like our world, but then all the places are different. And I'm not sure if they are called by their native language title, because so like this is a series, or going to be a series. So at the end of this book, they talk about a place called Deutschland, which is Germany, but it's the German title for Germany. So in German, you say Deutschland to mean Germany, and that's what Germany is called in this book. Probably the thing that I like the most about this book is just the language. So there was a lot of German in it, and then I think there was like different Nordic languages were in here. So that was entertaining to read and try to figure out what it was talking about. But the main storyline of her meeting these men was to me terrible. It was pretty irritating because I felt like this entire book was just like her inner monologue or a journal, which is fine, but that's not what I planned to read. Like, I didn't plan to read a book about her constantly second guessing her feelings, which was really annoying. Also, like, in the end, I bet you, so there's the main boy, or not the main, the first boy that says no to her proposal, and then there's the prince in England, and then the prince in Norway, and then there's also the captain of her ship. I'm gonna bet she ends up with the captain of her ship. But every single man she basically falls head over heels for, and she only knows them for less than 14 days. So I thought that's just like really ridiculous. Like very, very much ridiculous. Just like Disney movies do it really, really quickly, but it's a movie. You can't fit a ton of information in. It's a book. You can fit many, many days inside of a book. So I just, maybe it's just me getting older. Or this book is just shitty with love. I mean, I would put this in the romance column more so than the fantasy column. Okay, so done with that. I'm very much looking forward to the book that I'm reading now. I'm kind of going into the not fall, but like Halloween spooky-ish reads. I don't really like to read horror, but I do have one book that is horror, so that's okay. But now we'll just talk about the things that have been going on in my life. If you have been watching my Vlogtober, well, I'm doing them weekly, so I posted one, and then in a couple days, or hopefully on Monday, I'll be able to post the second week. So you would have seen what my days have been like. But essentially, I was in a wedding, and it was really fun. It was it wasn't stressful, but it was just tiring because it was so early, and we had to go off-site for pictures and then come back, and then, I mean, I'm drinking alcohol, and so I'm like slightly drunk by like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so that felt really weird, but then it was really nice to like be home by 3:30. Yeah, it was Sunday, so I had to go to work the next day, but it was just really nice, and I kind of just went to sleep. So stuff from the wedding. I did watch Downton Abbey, and it was glorious and beautiful, and it just made me happy. If you like Downton Abbey, definitely watch the movie. I loved how at the beginning of the movie, it's just it's like a panoramic view of Downton Abbey, kind of like. It starts with that, and then at the end of the movie, it's pulling away from Downton Abbey, or Highcliffe Castle. So I really liked that. I liked the beginning and I liked the ending. I mean, I liked all of it, but I really liked those two shots. Half marathon. It's next week. Yep. It's in 7 days. So I'm kind of nervous, but I'm also ready to just be done with it. It's a lot of running. I had planned to run 8 miles today, but I just didn't have the time, so I'm gonna do that tomorrow morning. Yeah, so half marathon, it is coming up, and by the time I podcast next, I will have been a half marathon completer. For real. Like, I have run 13.1 miles. I've done it 3 times now, but this 4th one will be official because there will be a finish line. I feel good about that. Last, floral arranging. So before the wedding, the Friday before, we had done the floral arranging, and I feel like did I talk about it? No, I did not. So I don't think so. We did the floral arranging. So we went to a place called Flower Man, and we built the bridesmaids bouquets. We built 2 different floral arrangements for sitting on. So 2 would sat on top of a whiskey barrel, and then 2 against a trellis. And then we did little tiny flower arrangements to go inside, like as table decoration. And then we did corsages, boutonnieres. Did I say the bridesmaids? And then I did the toss bouquet, which I was excited. I mean, I didn't do all of it, but I did the part of the toss bouquet. And then the gal that was helping us, she did the actual bouquet. So that was so much fun. I really liked it. Like, I really liked that. And then I was looking at my local nursery, and I saw that they had a fall like flower arranging thing, and it was only $25. So I did that, and I'm so proud of this. I'm gonna post a picture of what I made. It's a pumpkin with a bunch of succulents on it. It was really easy to do. Like I said, $25 for all of that. So if you want to do this at home, you just get a pumpkin. I got like a shorter, wider pumpkin, and I liked the way that worked out. So you get like moss, so just different moss, which they sell there. So if you go to a nursery, I'm sure they have that. Get different colors of moss, and then also they had Spanish moss. So then you glue that onto the pumpkin, and then you glue succulents on top. So you, like hot glue, gluing them on. The succulents need to go on top of the moss because you will be misting the moss. So then the moss will take the moisture in, and then the succulents will pull the moisture from the moss. So if you want to try it, that's basically what we did. And then you're supposed to mist it once a week, and it should last until the pumpkin rots. And then they suggest that you can cut the pumpkin. So basically like cut where you put the moss and all the succulents, cut that off so you just have the lid or the top of the pumpkin, and then just plop it in some water. We'll see. I will keep you informed, but you'll also see a little bit more about that in the Vlogtober. But that is it. Kickoff is in 5 minutes, so I'm gonna say we're done. And also 34 minutes. Good job. I'm a talker, so this is real good. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked, go ahead and hit the like button, and feel free to subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, let me know down below. If you would like to follow me on any of the social medias, I am a Traveling Knitter podcast on Instagram. I am LuluisCrazy on Goodreads. And we do have a Ravelry group. Nothing really happening there. I do have plans for something, but not yet. I'm thinking probably in the new year. And I believe that is all of it. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you in 2 weeks, unless you are watching my Vlogtober, and then I will see you in a couple days. Bye.